Hey, I'm Duke on Twitch. If you want to support the channel and greensunzenith.com, you can find my Patreon, merch store, and singles store where you can buy singles through TCG Player or Card Hoarder in the video description. If you want to get in contact, you can also find all that info in the description below for things like donation deck lists or just wanting to reach out. Alright, let's get right into it. Hey team, welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Back today with some testing for God of Legacy. I'm going to be in Japan for the event, which is cool, and I think I'm going to take Naya Depths. It was between Naya Depths and Maverick, and I think for an unknown metagame, I really like the thought of having just an I win button to work towards. Hey Arnie, welcome. So I've gone with Naya Depths. I think the ceiling of Naya is a little bit higher than Maverick, especially in a meta where you're not too sure what you have to fight against. It's a little bit harder to pick out the Green Sun's target and sort of your bullets in the board. And I think from a power level, Naya Depths is just a little bit better. I've also decided to play a 4 Mox Diamond build because of just the consistency of having that turn 1 Mox Diamond. In a lot of ways is kind of the make or break for Naya. I think having like a turn 1 Library or a turn 1 Reclaimer makes the deck that little bit unfair to stay relevant in a metagame that has some pretty unfair decks. So I think having the 4 Moxen is really nice. I'm still happy with 61. The 61st card's Liberator for me. And that's just a personal thing. I really like just having an out to some random things that are going to come up. Especially in Japan, there can be some pretty interesting decks running around. Usually when you see some top 8 deck lists, you don't see typical decks over there. So we'll see how that goes. The deck list is pretty normal. I am deciding on Ramanap. I think Ramanap is... I really like Ramanap. I think Ramanap works really well because it allows me to obviously get back the combo. I am running Canopy. Obviously with Dryad Arbor, it's really nice. And just having that out as well of like a Wasteland lock is quite good. I think Ramanap just works really well with the list, especially with the 4 Mox Diamonds. It's nice to be able to get back some of that card disadvantage early on. So pretty keen to test that. Night of Autumn is also a thought. The only thing is that Night of Autumn's actually nice because looking at the sideboard quickly, I'm also playing Undermounted Adventurer as kind of my Planeswalker control-ish card, but I can Green Suns for it, which I think is great from a consistency perspective. If I played like a Nissa or a Vivian, there's a high chance I'm not going to see it in the matches that I do, so it's really nice to be able to have the Undermounted Adventurer. So I don't mind Night of Autumn because having the body stick, especially when you're wanting to potentially protect the initiative, is quite strong. So thank Bob Mans. And then the board is a little more open than usual. I think in the perfect metagame, I would love to just have 5 different 3 elves in the sideboard. Obviously that's going to change in a deck where you can search up things with Knight and Green Suns. You can have a lot of 1-ofs, things like Tower, Endurance, Collect Oof. But I think I've got a pretty good range. So we have obviously some Artifact Enchantment Hate in Force of Vigor, Collect Oof, a little bit more removal in Path to Exile, Blasts potentially. Containment Priest is, I think, really strong. Beats up on natural order decks, beats up on Reanimator. Any of the decks where they kind of have something unfair, I really like to see. So we'll see how that goes. Surgical, I think, is just needed, especially online. There's a lot of Reanimator running around. And Tower is just great for decks like 8cast. Obviously, if Death and Taxes is around, it's nice to also have something against Kaldra, because that can put a lot of pressure on you in probably wanting to combo off faster than you have to or want to. But yeah, overall, I think this list should be pretty solid. So pretty keen just to probably take this league a little slow and just really make sure I'm talking through my lines and making the best decisions possible each turn, which can be pretty tricky, but we'll see how it goes. Hey Ben, a big thank you for the adventurer as well. I never want to forget that it is your adventurer, but a huge thank you for letting me borrow this, because it's been, yeah, obviously very, very, yeah, I very much appreciate it. But yeah, I believe the extra Mox Diamond increases the chances of a Mox in your opener by about 8%. I think it goes from like 31 to 39% from a 3 of to a 4 of. So a little like Vile, it's just a card that I really like to have as typically a 4 of or a 0 of, but I do get the understanding of why Naya has just typically run 3. The deck just doesn't really have to turbo out that quick. And here we do have the Mox, but we don't have too much going on. We do have one piece of the combo. We have a Knight of Autumn, which could just be a dead card, so pretty happy to mulligan this. I think this deck mulligans pretty well as well. It's actually a pretty good hand. No Mox, but that's fine. I'm pretty happy to keep the 3 lands, the Reclaimer, the Green Suns. The Safekeeper is most likely going to be okay, but it's probably the weakest card in this hand, and it's a target for Green Suns we can go and get later, so pretty happy to keep this and bottom the Safekeeper. Hey Jono, welcome. You are more than welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Saga and Shadowspear are also pretty nice. Interesting. Fetch into Island. Prismatic Vista makes me think they're not holding up Stifle here. I'm pretty happy just to go with Yav into Reclaimer. I don't think this is a deck where I have to hold up Crop Rotation. Consider's interesting. Consider, I wouldn't consider in a deck other than Doomsday, so maybe this is Brainstorm. Okay. Oh, sorry, yeah, we're in DeckTech. There we go. Apologies, there we go. Hey Golem, thank you very much. Hey Grid. Graham, are you going to be playing Eternal Weekend this year in Melbourne? There should hopefully be a few of us going down. Would be cool to play. You got your tickets? Very cool to see. Nice. I believe the new venue is where we had dinner last time, where those hey Epic Aki. Yeah, where those pizzas were. Another crop, okay. So the second crop is actually quite relevant because it means we could turn next turn this Windswept Heath into Dark Depths, this Wasteland into Stage, and then the Yav gives us 2 mana thanks to the Dark Depths tapping for mana to actually combo off. So I don't mind either holding up Reclaimer here or just green sunning for Sylvan Safekeeper this turn. They did Brainstorm last turn, play a Fetch and Pass. Terminus is a little bit tough. I actually don't mind us holding up Reclaimer here. Same size as last year, but nicer space. Nice. Very cool to see. Underworld has been nice. I would actually say, probably from the 5 leagues that I've played with Undermounted and Adventurer, I've used it a lot more defensively to steal the initiative than I have played it proactively to actually take the initiative. A lot of the time, when I'm getting to that sort of mana, I'm just in a position anyway where I feel pretty good about where we are. Volk Island Mountain. I'm starting to get like sneak vibes. So the Wasteland's nice. I'm happy to fetch. The land I probably don't want is just plains. So I'll get plains. Get rid of the plains and go for plateau. This could be like a petty theft. Electrolyze? Alright, I did not have this on my bingo card for 2023. Yeah, alright. We do get flagstones here, which is actually quite nice, because it just gives us some help with crop rotation. It can be pretty tough if you crop rotate away a land and the opponent has Force of Will, but at least in this spot, if we lose the flagstones, it replaces itself, so it's not as big of a blowout. Library is a really nice draw. I'm pretty happy to library here into Wasteland on Volk. Yeah, I think the last time I saw Electrolyze was Highlander. And sadly, even then, it's gotten a little bit tough to really fit into something like Blue Moon. Okay. Honestly, I'm happy to pay for the flagstones and put back the Sajiri step, which is just nice to have. Again, we can Wasteland. Float blue, red, Snapcaster Mage. Okay. Pretty happy to leave them with Brainstorm or Consider. There is a small part of me that would like to Bojuka Bog it because we are trying to take them off mana here, and Consider can just find it, but currently the crops just being open for the combo. I think if we get Safekeeper here and then move towards the combo, we're in a pretty good spot. Been seeing a lot more Spell Pierce in Legacy 2. Force is fine. Wow. Will they Wasteland the Yav or not? That's a huge question. No. So the Wasteland is more important for them. That also makes me think that they're a little bit scared of the combo and don't have an answer to it in their hand, which is pretty nice for us. Okay. Put on top, put on top. Here I actually just really like Foothills and Green Suns for Reclaimer, as it also just stops this Snapcaster Mage getting in, which is relevant with the library in play. Wow, another Force. Pitching a Snap, so that's a small win. I don't want to go for Dryad Arbor here. I'd rather just hold up the crop in before Twin. Yeah, you never know. Jace. Jace is fine. Especially if we can fetch and then find Minsk in the top 3. That'd be pretty cool. I believe we know the top cards are Sajiri Step and Taiga. So we can't pay 8. Oh, he died of the snap. I don't mind putting back the Savannah. And probably just the Mox. Play the Canopy. And then pass. Then we have crops for shuffle. Hey Elo, a huge thank you. Hope you're doing well. They've already used 2 forces. They are getting to the stage where they can just hold up hardcast force. But I think I'm okay with that with the flagstones in play. Double Wasteland, okay. Alright. Crop away this. We'll go and get Plateau. Maybe Counterspell? 1 blue, 1 red. And 1. 4 mana. Shark Typhoon. Okay. Minor misstep. That's pretty good. We do get the shuffle though, so I think that is more than fine. I don't mind drawing here off the Canopy either. I don't think we need to play around days. They can't force, and that just digs me 1 more card to find Minsk. And then we still have the Flagstones next turn to play and have 4 mana for Minsk, so I think drawing here is fine. Bog. Mox. Ugh. Now we're in a bit of a pickle. If I make the token, they have the Jace bounce. If I go for the token, they have double Wasteland, which is pretty hard to interact with. I could Wasteland once. We really want to shuffle, so I kind of want to get rid of that Flagstones. But I do like the extra Wasteland. We do have upkeep crop as well if needed. Could like Wasteland or Wasteland here, but I think Flagstone's pass is fine. Really need like some solid hits off those libraries, but Now it's even a tougher spot because we don't have any crops left over for the wastelands. I think it's just a fetch land, just in case we have to fetch up a Dryad Arbor, which gets hit by Wasteland, but it's not too much else we can do. Swords is relevant. Okay. I can't buy a card, which is tough. I think Knight... Yeah, it's tough because, like, Knight plus bounce... So I have to sword. I don't mind put back Reclaimer. Oh, I have to just keep one though. So it really has to be sword. Tough spot for sure. At least this allows me to... They're gonna fetch... String of like hardcast force. I could wasteland a wasteland here, see what they do with it, and then swords probably the shark token, and then try to fetch up Dryad Arbor for the snap. They wasteland that, but then we just go to 1, which isn't too bad. Like there was a line of potentially like wastelanding our own knight just to buy a bunch of life, but I don't think that's too relevant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It would be 11, 11, so that would actually be pretty interesting. I think we just let this fetch happen. No Mystic Sanctuary. I guess they only have 3 islands already in play. Pretty happy just to sword in response to the brainstorm. Okay. At this stage, we have enough mana to do pretty much anything off the top, so I don't mind trying to go for Dryad Arbor, but in a deck with Electrolyze, I could definitely see a world where we do just die. Yeah. Alright. So, blue-reddish control. Blue-reddish control. The blasts are great. The Adventurer is interesting. They do have a few flash creatures, but with the blasts, we do have a lot more protection. I don't mind dropping some swords for blasts as well. Having the Knight of Autumn is nice, just in case they're just a 2-color deck running things like Blood Moon or Back to Basics. The Endurance I could see. I don't mind going down on like 1 or 2 crops. And then probably Ramanap. Ramanap's... They played a lot of Volks, and also just Wastelands as well. What to do? Could be going down to 3 Mox. I'm actually pretty happy to trim a Mox in this matchup. Sweet. Turn 1, Reclaimer. Turn 2, hold up Flagstones or Library. And then we have Minsk on turn 3 if we do the Flagstone shenanigans, which is pretty nice. Nothing. Yeah, pretty happy just to hold here. or blue? That's fine. Stifle. Okay. Another library is pretty fantastic. Second library is a little bit tough. Like, they might have like a bounce spell and then counter back down, but otherwise pretty happy with how this is playing out. Ramanap's pretty nice, especially if you find crop. Okay. Pretty happy to pay for all of this. Play Ramanap. Get back Flagstones, tap it for green, play a Reclaimer. I kind of want to exhaust them a little bit of things like Force of Will before we get the mints down. They also pitched a Spell Pierce, which is great for us. So it seems just like a blue-red control deck. I think if they have Snap here, they Snap Bolt right now. So we can't untap with Proclaimer. Do they play Murktide? That would be pretty disgusting. Ah, Bone Crusher Giant. Okay. That's fine. Flagstones is really nice. Okay. I don't really want to go to 8 against the Bolt deck, so I am just going to get the 1 here, and then see if we can take them off this Volk, just to turn off Spell Pierce. Nice. Play the Minsk. Nice. Okay, that's a huge win, because being tapped out as well means this token is going to get around Bolt, and also the Minsk. Okay. Well, that's pretty nice. I guess Minsk isn't as great as they are a control deck with Bolt, but otherwise not too unhappy. They are on Stifle, and Stifle and Wasteland can be a little bit rough if we don't hit our land drop, so I could potentially see the extra Mox coming back in. And just going down to 28 lands. Like, probably just Caracas is the card I'm not too keen on. Doesn't really cast anything in our deck other than swords, and I don't believe they'll have any legendary creatures. A little bit rough with the Dryad Arbor. And I think just because of that, I'm happy to mulligan to 6. This doesn't really do a whole lot. There's no turn 1 play. I guess turn 2 we have Reclaimer as a potential still 1-2. Yeah. Okay. This is actually quite nice because we have a turn 1 library. Definitely keeping it. I think the line here is maybe dropping the Excavator, because although Excavator gets back the land we get off the... we drop off the Mox Diamond, the library also recoups that card loss and probably provides better card advantage, almost certainly. And the Reclaimer we can find again off Green Suns. And I like just having a Reclaimer as well. So I think it's the Ramanap. I will definitely upload this to YouTube for sure. I kind of hope they pondered there to keep this Mox Diamond down, but that actually kind of makes me just want to go Savannah into Reclaimer. But then if they have a misstep, that's pretty tough. We'll see what happens. Okay, well now we are just jamming the library. Because worst case, next turn we have Reclaimer and Stage. And then we have Depths as well. Okay. See what they did with the Consider. Delta into their graveyard. That's a fantastic draw. All of these are great, and this is actually a great reason to run multiple libraries, is that obviously we don't want this one, so we can put this away. I do want the Endurance, and now I'm happy to play Stage, play Reclaimer, and then hold up Elemental Blast. I would assume this is Bolt if they're not doing anything in response to the fetch. Yeah. We can't save this, that's fine. Sometimes against Bolt decks, I do like to hold Reclaimers until they're 3/4s, but I think also making them have the Bolt before we can get it online is particularly good. Alright, so we know about Library on top. Then we get 2 other cards. Mox is actually pretty nice as it allows us to combo off and also hold up Blast. So I don't mind that. So pay for Mox, play the Mox, pitch the Stage, play the Depths. They have 4 cards in hand. Also to note, if you are in a matchup where life isn't too much of a consideration, you can do things with multiple libraries. You can fetch between the 2 triggers, which is really nice. Price of Progress. Huh. We would take 6 here. I actually don't mind just going for the combo here. It gets rid of 2 of these, which is nice. And then if they have Jace bounce, we just have Blast back up anyway. And I definitely don't want to be in a position where it's just like bolt for the win. They also could have stifled that potentially to actually make us take 6, but I think with the library and the mana we have, I'm more than happy if they have an answer plus protection with Blast. Oh, they're going to try to take... That is actually pretty interesting. Nice, okay. That was pretty close. Things I did not have on my Legacy radar was definitely Archmage's Charm. That was pretty classic. But hey, we're off to a good start. Save. This is a pretty nice hand. The step is pretty much making this a 6, but against a graveyard combo deck, we have Endurance. We have Green Suns for Dryad Arbor early on to get turn 2 Endurance, turn 3 Minsk. One piece of the combo. Pretty happy to keep this. Death Shadow. Okay. Death Shadow, I think, is a pretty good matchup. Obviously, being a Swords to Plowshares deck is really nice. Our creatures, like Knight, can just be bigger than theirs, which is fantastic as well. Crop is pretty nice. I obviously don't want to throw it into a Daze, so pretty happy just to pass with a Forest here. Another Thoughtseize is fine. Not really looking to go after anything too quickly. They take the Endurance, which makes me think they have like a Gomag or a... Okay, they just want to get Death Shadow online. That's fine. Now Swords to Plowshares are really live draws. Green Suns is pretty nice. I don't mind here just going stage into Reclaimer. You could go potentially Plateau if you don't want to put a combo piece on the field. This is actually pretty interesting because I don't think Reclaimer here is that great, and our opponent going straight after Force means they don't have a Force for something like us. This crop rotation potentially finding, you know, a 2020, or of course a Swords to Plowshares. So I wonder if that means anything. I mean, Thoughtseize here isn't that great because both of these are fantastic for us. Wasteland does put us a little bit behind, but we have a lot of live draws, which is nice. Also only one card. Gomag would be quite good here. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, which they could cast. They don't. There's Crop. Okay. In that case, I'm happy to play the Step this turn and just crop that away playing around Daze. There's also a world where I just crop now to play around Force Blue card, but typically Death Shadow is a Wasteland deck as well, so happy just to pass and potentially hold up Minsk. Another Shadow is tricky. So here we will fetch Depths. Luckily, Swords to Plowshares off the top would deal with both. And I think just to play around Wasteland, I'm happy to make this now. But they do have a lot of plays. It's tough because even Minsk make a 4/4. The trample for 2 is lethal. Yeah, Maze of Ith would also be nice. Blaston would be great. Happy to play around like just Wasteland at sorcery speed, and if they have a like a fetch land or a Street Wraith, I'm happy just to take that. Reanimate Endurance. They also lose life from that, so that is just game. Tough. What do I like in this case? I do like the blast effects and I like the path. That's probably it, to be fair. The libraries I don't mind cutting. The Caracas I don't mind cutting. I like the Moxen. The Night of Autumn can also come out. I think that's fairly good. The extra endurance isn't too bad. And I could see the extra endurance over one crop. Just being a blue deck, I don't want to throw them away too quickly. Yeah, this is probably it. There is a thought on one library. Just because, although they are a pretty aggressive deck, post-board we do have a lot of answers to their threats. And so being able to trade 1-for-1 is great, but then we get to a situation where we kind of want to take advantage of that. And I think library is a nice way to do that. In saying that, library kind of has to be in the mid to late game. It can't be a card in your opener. I guess it can actually be a card in your opener because you want to, you know, use it aggressively to draw into your removal. Bog's still nice because of Gomeg. It might just be 2 crops. I think I'm fine with that. This is a 1-lander, which I'm just not happy keeping. It's got everything, but it also doesn't have a whole lot. This is a turn 2 Minsk, which is kind of cool. But it doesn't play around days. Huh. They've kept 7. Thoughtseize is pretty good for them as well. I actually don't mind keeping this and then just bottoming a Mox. And then it's a little bit rough, but I kind of have to start on Yav here. I don't want to play the Mox out yet either, because I'm not too sure what I want to drop. And if I draw like another Yav, then I'm happy just to throw that away to the Mox Island. Interesting, they're holding up Watery Grave. I think if we draw another land here, I'm happy just to Wasteland and Upkeep. That's a great card to drop to the Mox as well. Okay. Now I don't mind just holding up Endurance. Probably in response to the fetch. Then we can play around days. If they don't play another land. But I would assume they play a land to Brainstorm. But if they are wanting to like Brainstorm into something else, I don't mind just going with Endurance here. Because it means if they have days, they have to use the other fetch. But maybe the play was to bait out a days with Endurance there, and then Minsk, but I think this is fine. I kind of feel a hint of Turak coming on. Strix, okay. In that case, I think the best draw is just a 3-drop, because it's a big threat that plays around days. It's a big threat that plays around days. But I feel like I actually don't have the luxury to play around days, and I think Minsk being able to trade off with the Baleful Strix is pretty nice. So I'll just pass here. Okay. They didn't take 2, which means they probably don't have Death Shadow in hand. Interesting. Now I'm actually... So the reason I wasn't too happy with trading here was Reanimate on Strix is just really nice value, but having the Endurance for that is actually quite nice. So I think here all I'm going to do is Endurance in Upkeep to play around like a Gomag or a Murktide as well. Because we know they probably don't have Death Shadow, knowing that they put in a Watergrave untapped. Okay. Grief. Okay. That's fine because we actually have a really good clock here. Oof. Quick check. So the best target here is probably just Knight, which would be a 4/4. Having a quick think. We haven't played a land for turn, so I could actually go for Wasteland straight, like right now, but I think Knight's just great because it pretty much puts lethal onto the table. We have some little tricks here, like if they take a life and then attack, we do have that's been stage copy Yavimaya to put a land in the bin without having to use the Knight. But this could just be a hard cast Murktide. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. Typically in this sort of like mid game, I feel like Scalding Tarn actually has a lot of resource with Brainstorm, so okay, they have a Death Shadow. Ah, push. Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense as well. But only if they have another red as well. Or else going to 6 puts them in a tough spot where they might have to block with the Grief. Hey Sahar, thank you for coming on Saturday evening. Actually feeling pretty good. Had a really nice sleep on Sunday night. Also tough for them here because they pondered and then brainstormed, which means they've already played a land for turn, so they're probably going to be a little bit stuck here. Unless they just wanted to put a Murktide into play on the same turn. Okay, that's pretty good. Alright. Well, we have a lot of good outs to this. We have all the swords and blast effects still in the deck, which is nice. We also have a lot of land, so that is probably not worth playing. We take 9, go to 8. Yikes. At least next turn, we have a lot of live draws, even like for depths as well. We're at 8. We have to double block. Oh, I will. Oh, do I play Flagstones? The Flagstones allow us to use the stage, but I don't think that's relevant. Like, I could grow the Knight by 1, but... I think having the Unknown is just a little bit better. Hey, Echo, welcome. So we get to chump block and then take 6, go to 2. Okay. They must have removal in hand, or else they would have just cast the Grief. Tough. Definitely just one of those games where if you don't draw into removal, you're going to have a tough time against a creature deck. So I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be back in a second. Traveling around a bit. So there for 2 weeks for travel, which is really nice. And then, yeah, we'll be there for God of Legacy. So it's a nice little situation where I believe it's on the day before I leave. Yeah, it would be really cool. I haven't been to Japan since GP Shizuoka, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'll be going to Osaka. 3 days in Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, 1 night Mount Fuji, 3 days back in Tokyo. So I'll definitely reach out. Nice. But yeah, it should be interesting. It's I always liked playing in Japan. I remember at the GP, there's a really nice kind of tradition of players showing their 15-card sideboard face down before the game to kind of show that like you're only playing 15 cards in your sideboard, which is cool. People are very respectful. It also really opens your eyes to Magic being a pretty universal language, because the language barrier is huge if I don't speak Japanese and my opponent doesn't speak English. But you can still play a game of Magic, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. Especially when how a lot of turns and the game itself is quite intricate. To be able to sit down with someone who doesn't speak your language and play a full game of Legacy is sweet. Yes, it is definitely still useful for a noob, 100%. I think a lot of the basic information in that is still great. And yeah, I guess it was updated when Mints came out, and not much has changed. Morlock's kind of cool. Like if I was playing in paper, I'll definitely play Morlock in this list. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we didn't see a Wasteland from them, so like Maze of Ith would have been pretty strong as well. Like Maze could be my 61st. Because of the 4th Mox, I was thinking on dropping the Wooded Foothills. Just because the Foothills there is obviously for mana, but also to try to get Reclaimer online earlier, which Mox does as well. But we'll see. I'm always pretty happy to play 61 in Depths, just because you have 16 tutors, you have the libraries. And I typically find that I win more games based on the 61st card rather than losing to not there, but... Hey, Joe. Morlock, in paper, I am not playing a Knight of Autumn main deck. In paper, I also have the 4th Mox, but I can borrow that. But it's usually a Green Sun's target alongside these 3. And then usually 1 on the board, which... it's tough as well. Yeah, it's really sad that there is kind of a break between paper Magic and paper Legacy and online Legacy. A little bit like how it was with Pauper, when there was a kind of a format for online and a different format for offline. But it's always tough when you have like a deck list like Naya Depths that is probably a lot more... there's a lot more stock to it than Maverick. And so finding slots for new cards, especially those you probably want to play like 2 of, you have to find 2 spaces for it, so... Blame game, yeah. This hand is sweet. We have early interaction in Souls to Plowshares and Wasteland. We have Endurance for combo. We have the library for card advantage. 1 piece of the combo. All our colors. I think like Reclaimer instead of Canopy in this hand's like pretty perfect. I believe the 3rd period, or P3 in the year, is when they're looking to go for it. This looks like it might just be Reanimator. Scrubland Petal. In that case, I don't mind on Wasteland here. See if they want to Entomb. Just to take them off more mana to be able to... Oh, Ritual. Agent. Okay, luckily we do have Mox here into Sword. I will get rid of the Heath. I think that's fine. And I'll also just get rid of this now. No real reason to, but just to get it off the table is nice. Library against this sort of deck is also very good. So this could be like a sort of Dead Guy Ale type list. It's playing Cavern, okay. Or even like a black-white initiative. Okay. That's not too bad because Endurance is obviously very good against Spellbinder, and the library is going to draw us into the mana to pay for its tax. Wasteland would be really strong. There's a lot of strong cards here. I'm happy to put back the Plateau, but keep the fetch. And then I'm probably just fetching to play a Reclaimer as a 3/4 and holding up the Swords to Plowshares. I guess there is a world where we play around the one that bounces, especially at instant speed. Touch, Realm Touch. Sahar, help me out here. What's it called? Touch of the Realm. Touch of the Spirit Realm. Touches the Spirit Realm. I don't mind that. Okay. So this is going to be black-white initiative, I believe. So I'm happy to bring in the Undermountain, the Priest, and the Path. Priest is nice because it does stop the ultimate of theirs. And I think just having a flash creature that can steal the initiative is pretty good. I think Endurance probably comes in potentially. The Bog can definitely come out. The Safekeeper's okay. I'm not too sure if any of their creatures are legendary or not. But that's definitely an interesting point. I don't mind a library. I'm going to assume they're on a pretty aggressive build. So I might not even want to overextend too much. Like, these are obviously fantastic. Safekeeper. It's tough because although protection is quite nice against their exile spells, losing a land is pretty huge. I could actually just see an Endurance, especially seeing the Elite Spellbinder. Having a 3/4 blocker is just really nice with reach. Probably just want like 4 land, 3 spells. This isn't 4 land, 3 spells. It is a Swords. We are on the draw as well, so I don't mind this. It's obviously risky, but we have a pretty high chance of drawing into a land as well. Even a Mox would be great. We could double spell turn 1, so being up a game, I'm pretty happy to test this sort of hand, but I could definitely see why you mulligan it. Phyrexian Tower. I didn't expect that. Okay. They played a land for turn. It's Black-Red Rector? Okay, that would be pretty scary. I guess thankfully oh, don't... Yep, nice. I believe Endurance has some play there because you can put it back in their library with the trigger on the stack. That's a little bit of a yikes. But there's obviously the risk of keeping a hand like this. I didn't want to turn one Arbor because just of all the removal in the deck. And also, if we draw a Mox Diamond, I wouldn't mind pitching the Dried Arbor to that. Arena Rector, okay. So I believe this is... Sorry. When it dies, you may exile it if you do. And I believe part of dying is going to the graveyard. So I believe with the trigger on the stack, you can endurance it to the bottom of their library so they don't get anything from it. So now we're obviously in a tough spot. I don't mind just playing Reclaimer and passing, just because we have the endurance. You could crop away the Dried Arbor for a Yavimaya, but I think this is fine. I kind of hope they go all in on the Rector and then the endurance line works. But I think in hindsight as well, just being a little bit more safer with my openers is probably a good thing. I kind of hope they name Swords to Plowshares here. Oof, they just hit endurance. That's probably going to be it. I'll see what they get with the Arena Rector, but... I wonder what they get, if it is Ugin or if they have something else. Nicol Bolas. Okay. Definitely a throwaway there. I think it's probably just the library. Endurance is obviously nice. Minsk is nice. Crop's nice. Swords Path. Containment Priest is interesting, but... I don't mind the Bog as well, seeing this. I don't mind trading the Bog for Caracas. But then it's tough. It's probably a land. But it's tough to know what. I think the Moxes are fantastic. Yeah, I think Caracas is fine to cut. Could be Adepts. Yeah, I don't mind Adepts. Like, we do have Ram enough to get it back if we really want it. We're not really going for the combo in this matchup. This is a tough hand because it doesn't have a turn 1 or turn 2 play. This is better. Turn 1 Reclaimer. We could also fetch straight away. Yeah, we have to bottom a card as well, of course. I think in this case it's Undermountain. The Knight's kind of nice as it most likely hits something and also is a body to stick around. And Undermountain we can search for if needed. I'm just going to go for a Taiga here. Just to really turn off as much as possible with opposition agent. Because I assume if we play turn 1 Reclaimer and they have an agent to play, they just play it at sorcery speed. And then it's probably just taking the Yav and potentially turning that into a Flagstones to try to get this Minsk online. Now we're in a pretty good spot, because even if they had, like, Ritual into Agent, we get to respond to it. I think if they do nothing, though, I'm happy to untap Place of Vanna to hold up Sword for Agent. Ooh, this is great for us. They must have... They must have Solitude. So the question here is do we use the Reclaimer? Because if we use the Reclaimer, they can respond by Solituding. But if we untap and Swords the Seasoned Dungeoneer and attack, we're still in the same position, but the Yavimaya is no longer a Flagstones. I think I'm happy doing that. The downside is we could potentially draw into Cop Rotation, and Crop for Sajiri Step plays around Solitude, but I think I'm happy doing this because it also just gives... It looks like that is kind of F6ing, which is great for us. Okay. Okay. I should have also played a land here in case they want a Solitude now, but I think they probably just Solitude. Surely they Solitude in their turn, right? Wow, they don't have Solitude. I'm happy to take them off the land here, because it just stops them from having, like, Tomb into 4-drop. But they do have 7 cards in play. This is fine. They probably named Minsk, I assume. I also don't mind Lost Well, because the Reclaimer is big enough to just block the Anointed Peacekeeper, and I don't want to draw into a land. I really want to draw into a removal spell. Flagstones to the bottom. The Knight is actually pretty nice. I think we will put that on top. Yeah, just having 2 creatures on the board is quite nice without having to use the Knight of Autumn. I don't feel safe, though. That's the tough part. If they attack here, though, we do get Minsk, right? Yeah, okay. Ah, they get the protection, of course, because this deck is broken. Okay. Recruit is really good. Recruiter for Solitude. Hmm. I think now we just pass, sadly. We go to 8. Oof, yeah. Like, here we get to hold up the combo, which is nice. But obviously Trap puts us down to 13. It got down to 8. And then if they have another way to get through, that is lethal. That's fine. We can steal this potentially. We can use Reclaimer to go and get Depth. And then we can use the 2 mana left over to get Stage and copy Depths. And then we have Protection with Step to get through the Elite Spellbinder. So we go to 1. It doesn't matter if we want to respond here or not, because Solitude and White card. Yeah, it doesn't matter what. If anything, I'd rather give them the option not to get Solitude, but... Arena Rector. So they must have Solitude. So here we want to get Depths. And then we want to float to get Stage. Copy Depths. Keep this one. Okay, well now we have... We have double Step still in the deck, so we get through Soul here as well. Pro White. Nice. There you go, Game of Inches. Probably a few things I could have done differently, but obviously really nice to grab that win. Yeah. That's a matchup where I do like the thought of second path, for sure. I really thought they would have got Solitude there. Because I don't think Arena Rector does anything, really. You have protection already through creatures. I guess I might have also nearly had the mana for... No, I was thinking like Minsk and attack with Minsk plus throw knight, attack with knight, but I would also need 2 mana for Sajiri step to get through. So luckily the 1 Depths definitely did its work. But hey, thanks for checking in and watching. If you like this content, definitely consider following the channel. You can also find me on YouTube and Twitter. I recently did a weekend of co-streams, which will be up on YouTube shortly, which was really fun. It was Bant Natural Order with Brian Cavell, Mono Red Painter with Callum Smith, Jeskai Control with Matt Vuk, Sahar and Mono White Initiative, Tom Hep Rainbow Depths, Connor, False, and 4-color Loam, and then Achilles 21 and Maverick. This hand is sweet. Turn 1 Reclaimer, turn 2 Flagstones for a turn 3 Minsk. Okay. Sure. I don't mind just going for Reclaimer again. You can cast Ponder. Probably looking for another bolt here, to be fair. They chose to shuffle, which is good for us. Oh, just a pass. Happy to play Wasteland Pass. And then if they fetch, some decks are playing Stifle, so I would like to be able to hit this Folk without losing it, but... Bauble's fine. Bauble first means they most likely don't have DRC, which is nice. But if they fetch just in response to this, I'm happy to go and get Bojuka Bog. Because of Murktide Regent. Yeah, I think here, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I feel like it's Murktide here. So we can get a red source for Minsk. And then just to keep Murktide off, we can try to get Bojuka Bog here. And then even if they want to bolt us, we could potentially wasteland ourselves to put 3 lands in the bin and make it a 3/4. Uro. Okay. Didn't expect that, but that's okay. They have a land. Alright. An untapped source would be quite good here, as it'll allow us to play the Minsk around days. I think if they had the bolt, they would have bolted the Reclaimer, so that's pretty nice to have. We also just have Depth Pass as well. 2 mana to get Stage, which comes in tapped. Another Uro is fine. Hey Volt, you took Naya Depths to the semi-finals at the last London Legacy Monthly. Deck's great even without Moxes. That's really cool. A big congratulations. I think it's definitely trickier without Moxen, so that's a really nice achievement. If you have a list, I'd love to post it on the primer that I have on the Green Sun Zenith, because I do have a section for Moxless lists for people who are on more of a budget or just don't want to play around with Moxes. That'd be really, really cool to see. There you go. DRC, that is fine. Pretty happy just to swords this. One thing that's relevant here is that even though Bog is in play, if we do put it in the bin and then draw into Ramanap, we can replay it to get an extra ETB trigger. So I think here... Wow, they're going to force pitch Spell Pierce. Most likely also because they're wanting to fill the yard. So they probably have Bolt here. But Bolt actually does nothing. It has to be Stifle. Yeah, it has to be Stifle. Because we could just Wasteland one of their lands to make this a 3-4. They're currently at 21 as well. I think it might just be Yav, because that allows us to play around days with Minsk. Yeah. Okay. That's pretty nice, because now we get to play Minsk. If I really thought it was Bolt, I guess I could play around that by wastelanding the Volk, but I don't. Oh, it is. Wow, that's pretty huge. Damn. There was a line there to wasteland the open mana beforehand, but I just wasn't thinking of Bolt if they didn't Bolt the Elvish Reclaimer. Still get a 1/1. That's kind of cool. Honestly, I probably just hold up getting Caracas here. Or getting Stage. We have a higher chance of just naturally drawing into Stage, but... Uro's fine. I actually am pretty happy just to get Caracas here. Probably getting rid of the forest. Green and red. Tarmogoyf. Okay. They have one card left. That actually makes me a little bit more happy to go for Stage. Then we have Swords on Uro, hold up Tarmogoyf. Hold up our 2020. I'm also probably pretty happy just to play that at sorcery speed. To play around a wasteland. Play a land. And then probably just Swords the Uro here. They could attack it in... Actually... No, because if they attack, we just block with the Lage. If they get rid of the Lage before combat, we can just Swords in response, so... We also get to hold up Sajiri Step, yes, that's fantastic. We're also at 20 life on turn 6, so I think here we're more than happy just to Swords Uro. And then over 2 turns, Marit Lage is just lethal. Which means I'm happy not to use Reclaimer here and just hold up Sejiri Step for the rest of the game. Or we could just attack and then throw it. That's also pretty cool. And I think the only card that gets us is potentially a Brazen Borrower. So let's go Sejiri Step. Target Lage. If they do nothing, we also have up Reclaimer. Get Pro. Pro Blue. Minsk. We don't want a 1/1. Oh, they're going to bolt it again? I guess in this instance, if they have... Oh, they're going to try to Unholy Heat it. Okay. I guess in this instance, it does put me in a position where they could bounce this because we don't have the mana up. So a little bit risky there, let's be honest. And probably not worth it. I think it's much better just to hold up Sejiri Step the whole way. We can't throw because it's a -2, which is why they Unholy Heated it. Not only to turn on the DRC, but also because then we can't fling this. Yeah, so pretty lucky there. What do we like? We like the blast effects, we like the Path to Exile, we like the Endurance. I like taking out the libraries in the Minsk, and probably... I was going to say Caracas, but no, because of Uro. It probably is just a crop. Yeah. Yeah. But hey, Spatula. Hope you're doing well. Oof. 3 lands with... Yeah. More than happy to keep this. Hey, surely it's Brad. Is it Brad? I'm assuming it's Brad. Ponder. Pretty happy for Foothills Pass. We haven't seen Stifle yet, but it would make sense in an Uro build, if anything. Especially on Rug as well. Green Suns. Interesting. I don't want to throw away my only red source at the moment, so we could go Yav into Dryad Arbor. Also, getting the Knights out of bolt range is nice, so being able to put the Dryad Arbor and the Fetch into the bin turns the Knights online as 4/4s. But I probably don't want to play the Knight into Daze either. Happy next turn to play Wooded Foothills, holding up both Pyroblast and Swords around Daze. And then the following turn, hopefully Knight. Just a pass. Okay. I think just because Double Daze, it's not worth attacking with the Dryad Arbor here. Probably Volk. Okay. It's pretty nice. I don't want to play the Knights until they're 4/4s. That's the big thing. Oh, they could also have Minsk. That's pretty interesting. That is our way in. Mox pitch this. Fetch. Probably just get Plateau, seeing that we have the Yav. And then we get to go... Probably like this, just in case of Brazen. And now we still have Pyroblast or Swords around Days, which is nice. I could have also tapped the Dried Arbor, but I think that's fine. Endurance is a little bit rough because it does put the Knight back into bolt range. But I can't do too much about that. They didn't bolt end step. Yuri? Yikes. Yes. I guess that's a pretty good swords target. I guess if we draw stage, we have double elemental, which is pretty sweet. But yeah, being in a position where Knight's just a 3/3 feels really rough. No bolt. That is a huge, huge chain of events. That's pretty nice as well. Because what we get to go is sack like this, see if they wasteland a response. They don't. I think we just go for stage. I could also go for canopy. I don't mind canopy. Now we get to go Ramanap. Get back Dried Arbor just as a blocker. For endurance. Draw a card. I think this is a 4/4 again. There's stage. It is kind of funny that it is turn 7 and we haven't really had a great target for these blasts yet. I guess they do have Endurance, Fury, Tarmogoyf, DRC. They have a lot of threats that don't actually get hit by blast. Land is great for us. Okay. All sorts is great as well. Let's just play stage and pass. This way we get to hold up Night, get Wasteland, Wasteland, Wasteland to start the interaction. This is a pretty easy blast. The 3 life is relevant if we want to attack with everything. They're going to Hydro, that's fine. We then just have another one. Two lands left. That actually makes me just want to get a Wasteland here and then untap, because I want to have access to protection through Sajiri Step for a bounce spell. So let's get Wasteland. Okay. Pretty soft sort for them, but it was kind of nice just to take that pretty slow. Not be too aggressive with any of our lines. Building mana, it was definitely the best strategy there. Against any sort of Delver deck is always just making your land drops. I actually am not too sure how to set a wager, but let me quickly check if I know how to set it up. Start a prediction. I think that came up, so you guys want to have a bet? See how you go? I should use that more. Even as a answering questions would be pretty cool. Damo, thank you very much for the sub. Hope you're doing well. A big shout out to Good Games Gold Coast. If you're ever in Queensland and on the coast and want access to singles or a local game store, Good Games Gold Coast is your place to be. Good people. Alright. Yukara. It is a turn 2 Knight, which would also be a 5/5. But otherwise, this hand doesn't do a whole lot. With so many early plays, like Swords, Reclaimer, Green Suns, I'm pretty happy to mulligan this. And find a hand like this, where we can just bottom the Sajiri Step, adds a Reclaimer target, and then we have our mana online, we have a Green Suns for a little bit of flexibility. We have a Reclaimer. Obviously, Ramanap's quite strong as well with Reclaimer. Pretty happy to keep and bottom the step. Not too sure what our opponent is on. Misty doesn't give away too much. Ireland doesn't either. Preordain, okay. That makes me think this is more of a combo deck than something like a Delver deck, but you never know these days. I think if it is a combo deck, we obviously want to go for the combo as soon as possible. So I think Yavimaya here is great because it means that we can try to get Duck Depths into stage or stage into Duck Depths a lot quicker. It also means we just have the line of drawing into naturally Duck Depths, naturally stage. You've seen some Spelldancer Delver decks playing Preordain? Okay. The Mountain definitely now makes me put them back on Delver. Okay, now they are most likely Delver. Which I think here, honestly, it's fine just to go... Probably land into Green Suns for Dryad Arbor. We could also just try to get a Reclaimer online again. Which I don't mind. I will just go for a Taiga. Obviously not great playing Reclaimers into like a multiple range or Unholy Heat range, but if we get to untap, I feel like the benefit much outweighs the downside. TNN would be pretty good here, and I feel like this sort of mana base is a TNN build. Okay. It is not. Murktide. Yikes. Ah, Forager. Okay. I feel like in this spot we have to actually try to draw into a Swords. Or another turn 1 play. Okay. 1, 2... So now the Mox allows us to play around Bolt, which is nice. But this Whale getting a card back every turn is pretty good. Yikes. So now we really have to go strong for the combo. So here it's just going to be hold up, get stage, and then get depths the following turn. We are getting wailed on. So we go to 10. We're pretty much at 7, knowing about that bolt as well. They top one. Right. No double bolt is kind of nice. Swords would be huge. Yav's pretty dead. So here it's pretty much just depths or bust. Triple bolt does it. They chose to shuffle, which is good for us. Oh, they drew into Wasteland. Yikes. Yikes. Yeah, that's tough. Maybe it was like just play into... Yeah, I think it was just play into it. Like play into sorcery speed stuff, because they most likely don't have sorcery speed stuff. That's tough. Morlock would be pretty cool there. Morlocking for like getting rid of a whale. No, you'd have to actually naturally draw it. This hand is just lackluster. It does have lands, but you really want some amount of removal. Which this hand, like, at least has the Dark Depths plan and, like, a turn 2 Knight, but... it's just not great. Alright, double removal. It's probably more so Wasteland here than Stage. I think Wasteland just being a combo piece is quite nice. Aggressive. Probably means they're in a Wasteland start. No. Okay. Pretty happy just to sort this right now. They must have a Wasteland. Okay, there we go, yeah. I don't think the force makes sense if they don't. Wow, still. I don't understand that. I could play Reclaimer out, or I could act like I've missed my second land drop, which I have. But it might tempt my opponent to use the Savannah. Use the Wasteland on Savannah. And then honestly, I don't mind if they tap off the Wasteland in their turn, just cropping away the stage for a red source. Tough spot for sure. I think it's better to get the Reclaimer down. Maybe the Force Negation means that they don't have removal in hand, and so they wanted to deal with the Dried Arbor that way. We'll see. A Braid. We can also turn the stage into the Volk to get a red source, which is kind of nice, without having to use the crop. I don't know what this Wasteland's doing. Pass back. Okay. Now we do have copy Wasteland and then hold up the combo nearly. Brainstorm. Maybe Maze is worth it. See what they reveal. Nothing. So we can't currently beat another Wasteland anyway, so we might as well just try to go for making the 2020 now, because we can't beat bounce effects anyway. And I will just... yeah. Tough. Not too much to say there. I think both our losses were definitely like Delver strategies where we just didn't draw into removal, which is always tough. If anything, it means that I probably want another path in the board, and then potentially a maze in the deck. And maybe maze is better than canopy. Canopy kind of like that kind of 61st card, and maze would be very good against obviously Shadow and Delver, but yeah. Really tough one. Still a little bit to change, and hopefully I'll get another league in before I leave. But yeah, a nice quick one. I hope you guys enjoyed. Not too sure when I'll be back, but you'll definitely be able to check out my YouTube content, which I'll start actually putting up. Probably first Tom Hep's co-stream on Rainbow Depths tonight, and then probably Connor's next. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm going to see who else is streaming and send you over there. It looks like True Hero is playing Pioneer. Tagores is playing Modern. Gabe is playing... Nice. Jason, you are more than welcome. Yeah, a few little things to change. Like potentially, I'm not too sure where it fits. Maybe the Adventurer just isn't really where we want to be, especially when we already have Minsk, and the extra path could go there. And then of course, without the canopy, you could play the maze. So I wouldn't mind something like this, probably just like a small tweak for the next league. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Until then, enjoy, and I'll catch you next time.